Hello everyone, this is Sage992 and today we're back for another brand new video and what do you want to talk about? No seriousness, of course, come on, sit down, let's discuss the latest Rangers adventure, a Rangers adventure that took us to McDiarmid Park where we had to go into a tricky game versus a tricky opponent on an even trickier surface that you would honestly second guess allowing your pets to walk on to actually relieve themselves, never mind go about and play a game of football. But once again we faced a big obstacle and once again this Rangers side under Phil Clement went ahead and climbed that bad boy, you know what I mean? That was quite clearly the objectives, to come away with all 3 points, and we've done that with 3 good goals and obviously keeping that back door shut. And it's interesting because that was quite clearly the objective of the weekend. It was an objective that apparently we failed in our last game, you know what I mean? They couldn't handle the pressure, they couldn't, if you think about going top of the league, they couldn't handle it. You always be second place. That's what we heard after watching our team play fantastic free-flowing attacking football that saw 43 shots, that saw 23 of them being on target, seeing this Rangers team continue to develop and build towards actual success, having already bagged a trophy. The only other trophy available this season has been collected by us under Phil Clement, but we apparently couldn't handle the pressure, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it's got to be said, we were joint top for one match day week, ladies and gentlemen, and it wasn't us that blinked, it wasn't us that couldn't handle the pressure. Nah, as we came ahead and done our job, which obviously allows us to now go tippity top is Scottish football, an objective, a task that seemed almost impossible a couple of months ago when we were the laughing stocks when the league was won by Halloween. You remember all the jokes, it's -8, it's -9, wrap up Rangers fans, it's getting cold out there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to take the taps off because it's +2. And I think every single Rangers fan who's came onto this video and who's been spending their weekend and who's been spending their night with smiles on their face and being happy, you deserve to be that happy. Now, nothing is won so far this season. I mean, there has been one trophy won, but we won it this season. But nothing is won collectively in terms of the SPFL league title yet. There's still a hell of a long way to go and nothing's been wrapped up or decided yet. But I'd much rather be the team that's performing and playing well and building chemistries and building relationships and having a manager with a clear connection towards the players that continues to just win games and win games impressively. And I say that despite maybe the gamey football being what it was this afternoon, but for me it's a perfect example of what Scottish football actually is. You look at our last 2 match games, right? We had Ross County and then this one versus St Johnstone right here. Ross County was at Ibrox, an absolute bowling green of pristine surface that allowed us to play some of the best free-flowing attacking football I've seen, ladies and gentlemen. Then couple days later we go to McDiarmid Park, and again that park was an absolute disgrace to play on. It was like that every single time the ball, it was jumping up like it had flubber splashed over the actual rubber ball, man. It was absolutely embarrassing of a surface. That was 2 completely different challenges. We passed Ross County and we quite clearly passed this one as well, despite it not being the prettiest game in the eyes. But that's the obstacle of Scottish football. We'll play better stuff, we will play pristine pretty football when we're at the likes at Ibrox, but then when you go to the other side of that coin, the complete opposite, if you will, it's just about rolling your sleeves up, riding adversity and just getting over a line. That's exactly what we did. By hook or by crook, we came away with all 3 points, and ladies and gentlemen, that's what makes you champions. And that's truthfully why I can sit with a genuine smile on my face despite that game being what it was. Because I'll be honest, I've not got a single mental note from the first 30 minutes of this game because none happened. There wasn't a big moment or a fast start or great bits of football. It was ugly for a look at that. We were in genuine trenches and some of the dips and divots that was in that part looked like actual trenches. But again, the only thing that matters is winning games of football, and that's what we're doing now. We've got new players. The mentality test that has been the massive problem with our squad year upon year. Whenever there was a slip up, whenever there was an opportunity, we fired all the momentum right back across the city, but we're not doing that right now. We're just grinding out games. We're winning games comfortably, then we're grinding out games. It doesn't matter. It's all it matters is picking all 3, and we are doing that better than any other team in the SPFL right now. You can't win nothing in February, as we've already mentioned. You can't win a title, you can't be doing this, no, but you can be happy about how your team is performing. And right now, as of February, the best team in this country is us, ladies and gentlemen, and that's amazing to say considering the depths we were at not too long ago. But of course we're here to not only reflect about being top of the league right now as it stands, but this game of football. And I've kind of touched around it. It wasn't the prettiest thing on the eyes, but what I saw was what I needed to see from the game. And what was great is seeing some new players being added in, some old players showing that when they're surrounded with better talent, they can be genuine champions and they can be very good players. And then you've got other players that again are just playing through the motions and playing to the end of their contract. I'm sure Big Phil will be moving them on despite getting some opportunities when they're getting rotated out. But I want to speak about a positive first, and that's going to be none other than Diomandes, because again, the first 30 minutes of this game was putrid to watch. The ball was bouncing, there was very little football. This is the game that gets showed on Sky, then they worry and wonder why nobody's actually, or new fans are coming in and being interested in Scottish football. Look at the surface, look what was allowed to be played on that surface. It's genuinely embarrassing, but they do all that to try and disrupt the teams that play real football. I get it, I get the dark art side, if you will, but it was a horrible game. But the new blood that I want to talk about is none other than Mr. Diomandes. We talked about it in his player profile, we talked about it in his signing video. He is a guy that when he's presented an opportunity will have a pop, and if there was ever a game you needed a mindset and you needed a player like that we never had before him in terms of that sitting midfielder position besides John Lundstrom, it is there, and it's shown right here because he grabbed an ugly game by the scruff of the neck that was favouring St Johnstone up to that point and flipped it completely in our favour with a fantastic goal outside the box, willing to have a pop. A Rangers centre mid that's got the ability to hit the target. By God, tears in my eyes. And not only did he kickstart the afternoon, or kickstart the party, if you will, but I felt like we needed to start this game, or game reaction I should say, by mentioning him as he started everything. He was the spark, and it was a spark that was badly needed. So shout out to the recruitment team, shout out to the manager, and shout out to our man Dio as well. We love you, big man. More of them. And the only other player that I want to mention before we actually get to the nitty gritty of the game reaction is going to be a man that was brought on at half time, Mr. Johnstone. And if you watch today's video to the end, you will hear this guy and hear the impact that he truly had and how he changed the game and how involved he actually was. The night and day difference from the first half to the second half. But what I really want to mention right now, and I want to really highlight in case you're not going to watch later on in the video, is Johnstone is a guy, right, that's came to this football club this season that was banished to the shadow realm under Michael Beale, that has also struggled with injuries. But this is a young laddie that has played right back, left back, centre back in a second half, getting brought in and told to sit a wee bit deeper. He's played centre mid in a cup final. That was absolutely unreal, by the way, but that was his first time ever playing centre mid. He's also played left wing for us, and then today, ladies and gentlemen, after Scott Wright dropped his usual Scott Wright performance, he was then thrusted into the right wing position, where again he drastically changed this game, added physicality, added threat. Who was it a perfect performance? Should have scored some goals, aye, but he's a fullback, ladies and gentlemen, a young fullback that's never scored in his career. And I looked at it, but what I see is a guy that's got the complete trust for his manager, that's getting put into a tricky situation in a tricky game of football and be given an opportunity in a complete different area of the park that he's never played in a Rangers shirt or in his career, but told to go out there and impact and change the game for the better, and he did that. So you'll probably get lost in it, and maybe people will look at the miss of the header and maybe be critical of that, but if you look at impacts in games and how you changed it, that's 6 different positions young Johnstone's played for Rangers this season, and honestly I think he's been great in all of them. And if God forbid anything ever happened to Jack Butland, I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if he could pull on a pair of gloves and do a shift. And the last player that I need to mention very briefly before we go ahead and get into it is none other than the skip dog. You know what I mean? What is there left to be said about Tavernier? Some people love him. Well, most people love them. He's got a real area or a crowd that really doesn't like him or doesn't appreciate his talent. But I think everyone knows where I am. I can be critical of him when I need to be critical. When he's had a poor games, I sit here and do it. But this guy is quite clearly our best player, and I've said it year upon year. Nice names getting added. Nice names getting added. We like this guy now. We sing his name. We like this. But the guy that continues to be the difference maker for this squad is our right back. We talked about a fullback in Johnstone and impacting games, but Tavernier, you look at the last 2 games, pressure on. The stuff, because the likes that he's played with the years that he unfairly gets smashed down and beat down. Oh, he never done this, or he's failed here. That's embarrassing. When you look at some of the players he's had to play with, it's scarier than 99% of horror movies released. best these days, jump scares included. But what you've seen is a guy that's went through the trenches and went through rebuild, but won the respect of manager after manager after manager. Great players like Gerrard identifying him, knowing this, and year upon year he continues to be not only your top goal scorer every single year, but also again creating major opportunities. This is 120 of competitive goal for Rangers, which is an absolute joke. You look at the assist totals, you look at the statistics that's been fired out this season. Who leads us in interceptions and tackles won? It's Tavernier, the guy that can't defend, leads us in all defensive categories. How's that? I don't know. It might just be people's bias. He's the captain, he wears that pressure, and I get it, he's always going to have a bigger spotlight. But I look at the last 2 games with the pressure that's been built on him, the thing that apparently he's failed to in the past. We scored 3 goals versus Ross County. He created all 3 of them. He should have got a couple more assists, but you'll know if you watched that game of football. And today, we scored 3 goals. He scored 2 of them. Out of the last 6 goals that we've scored as a football club in pressure situations with the opportunity to close in on the top, to go top, the guy that's been leading us and driving this Rangers machine has been Tavernier, as he has 5 goal contributions out their last 6 goals scored. But I know there's nothing I can say. There's people who's just going to hate Tavernier for the rest of his days. But where we would be afoot this laddie, I think it's a very, very scary prospect. But that was the 3 players that really stood out to me in the game of football. And we'll talk about a couple of others as we go ahead and get into it. Because again, there's not a single thing I can remember from the first 30 minutes. Can you? Honestly, if you're still watching, do you remember anything? Because I'm usually crazy OCD up in here and I remember half opportunities and half chances. But I've got none. As I thought the game was dreadful. Every single time it went down the right hand side, it was completely lost. Scott Wright was running balls out. It wasn't just him, but he was an epitome of everything breaking down in terms of the attack. But it was really hard to play football and it was a really ugly game. But that's the challenges you face in Scottish football. And that's why I started off the player discussion with Mr. Diomandes, because it goes all the way to the 38th minute when you start to get a little bit nervous. It's getting to the first half. There's no clear goals. We've not a single shot in the game right now. But up steps Diomandes after a ball gets played into Cantwell. He tries to flick it. Cantwell, by the way, got the treatment today for the St Johnstone players. It's embarrassing that this continuously happens and he doesn't get any protection for referees. But he done really well to get himself up after getting nailed in the middle of the park, right in front of the referee. Not worth a yellow card, however, but he does well, gets back up, keeps his head focused in the game, and I think that's something him and Clement's built to really focus on in his job. Straight back up from that free kick, flicks into a position. The defender, I think it's Considine, tries to clear it. It goes right out to Diomandes outside the box, and his first instinct, isn't he? Touch, let's hit it to a winger. Touch, can I pass it to Lundstrom? Touch, where's Tavernier? This is fresh blood in this Rangers team, and he does what he's done all his young career. Touch and has a pop, and it gives the goalie that leads the league in terms of saves throughout the season with absolutely 0 chance. And that goal is absolutely massive for our season. And you could feel it as the crowd started to erupt, and the away crowd's always sensational for me, the best away crowd in the country. Oh, you're biased, but it just is. The way they sing, they back the team. It's absolutely sensational, the stuff that they do, but they go right behind the squad, and it did start to spark Rangers into life, and we really should have made it 2-0 as Scott Wright gets the ball at the edge of the box. He's breaking away. He's got Cantwell here. He's got Silva here. He's got Diomandes at the other side, but he picks out Cantwell with a bit of a poor pass. It's kind of behind him, bounces up, and Cantwell tries to make something of it, but it's just poor decision making for Scott Wright, and my opinions were what they were on social media. I was like, you need to get Scott Wright off. He's just breaking everything down. It's not been a great game for anybody. No one's there. I'm not doing a witch hunt, but it's breaking down, and we have absolutely nothing doing that side. And quite clearly Clement agreed, as that was the decision that was made at half time. Off comes Scott Wright, and in comes Johnstone, full back that's played everywhere but right wing, but he's trusted at this nippy time, because again 1-0 isn't finishing this game, or 1-0 is none, because none changes for St Johnstone. We've talked about this a lot. When it's 1-0 versus the dross of this league, their game plan doesn't change. They'll continue to time waste, they'll continue to sit in, they'll not come out and attack, because the longer the game goes on, all they need is 1 goal to nick a draw, and that is massive. That's gold to them. So it's all about getting that second goal, and to be trusted by the manager in that position. And then to go out and do it in a different position is outrageous as well, because 13 seconds is all it took Sterling to add something to the right hand side that wasn't there for the entire first 45 minutes. As we get the ball down to his side, good work between him and Tavernier, good chemistry, good build up, and then he hits a delicious ball into the mixer. He's not running at the byline and running the ball out or cutting back or doing anything crap like that. No, he just puts the ball into the mixer. Silva reacts brilliantly, hits a fantastic volley, but to be fair to the St Johnstone goalie, it is a great save, and you're thinking, well, there you are then, you know what I mean? I thought we were finally going to be clinical after seeing what we've done versus Ross County, where we had all those shots and 8 goals. Up to that point we had 1 shot on target, 1 goal, but the goalie pulls off a world day, and that's what I expect being a Rangers fan. But again, we're talking about impact, so that means we're talking about Sterling, and who really should have not only opened his account in a Rangers shirt, but opened his account in terms of his career, because Cantwell cannot do any more here. This ball for Cantwell is as nice as it actually gets in terms of crossing. You'll never get better than this. The way he's hit it, he's just cut through it, and that's the ridiculous talent that's in the feet of Todd Cantwell as well. Just drills it. He really should have another assist right here as he goes right to the back post. Sterling gets his header on it and gets in. I think he's got the goal that he deserved, but somehow, someway he misses, and he's probably showing he's a fullback that's not exactly got an eye for goal with that chance. But again, he's in the right position. He's battling a big experienced centre half. No one else is getting it. Doesn't matter if you put a McCausland there or a Scotty Wright or anybody, or even a Cortez or anybody, what Rabbi Maton. No one else is getting there, but the physicality, Sterling gives them the opportunity. But again, should score it. And it's a real shame that Todd Cantwell didn't get his assist that his cross deserved, but that was his last action as he came off for Tom Lawrence. And I'm looking at the subs we're making and the players we're able to bring on. What a position we are now in terms of a football club, to be able to bring in the likes of Tom Lawrence for Todd Cantwell. That is absolutely outrageous. I've seen a lot worse Rangers squads of the year, and you know what you get with Lawrence, a bit of coolness, composure with the ball, trying to pick out people, etc, etc. But again, it was still Sterling with the major opportunities and the big chances that was created for just his runs. I mean, he takes 2 of them on, they ends up getting played down the right hand side, where Silva unfortunately is really poor decision making as he tries to just sort of pass it with the outside his foot. He has to do better in that occasion, but again, everything good is coming for young Sterling. And I felt like I needed to praise him again there, because now I need to talk about where he should have scored yet again in the 63rd minute. He just does everything right again, and Silva this time picks the right pass. Beautiful little chip. He actually does everything right, Sterling, as he brings it down, fakes, opens up, but then he just can't sort his big feet out instead of putting it into the back of it. And I'm laughing now because we've won the game, but if we'd never, I'd have probably had to have a more frustrating conversation. But I just like big Sterling because he just gives you everything. And again, he's a fullback out of position. He's looking like a fullback. Fullbacks aren't normally Tavernier in front of goal. We need to stop judging him, but he does very well there with Silva. It's really good link-up playing. He should have scored again. However, that was it for the chances over the next 10 minutes, as it took us to about the 70th minute to bring it on both Ross McCausland and Dessers. And all I'm going to say about young Ross, because again, I know he's still getting really chased on social media, which I didn't understand at all, but everyone's got their own opinions and everyone's right to their opinion. But all I will say about young Ross McCausland is, anyone who watched that first half, do you understand why Ross McCausland's playing so much? Despite maybe not being great every game, he's still a young lad that's learning his craft, and he's going to have those ups and downs. But do you see the alternative? Do you see the lack of anything when he's no good at? Scotty Wright's going to have an impact in this Rangers team. I can guarantee it for the rest of the season, but it's probably going to be off the bench. He's probably going to get another goal in the cup, as he does. He's hammed in Scott Wright, and I was like, what did you say about Scott Wright? But that's where Scott Wright is. He can't start games because he's good running against tired defenders, but he done absolutely nothing, and he was completely leashed in this game. At least wee Ross, who maybe plays it too safe, actually keeps the ball, creates things with the football, and it's not just running the ball to play and just running down with their head down, tunnel vision, losing us the ball. So that's all I wanted to say about that. Ross gets crucified far too much, in my opinion. Scotty Wright's been here for enough years now. He should be doing a hell of a lot better. In fact, if you look at how long Scott Wright's been here, Ross McCausland, when Scott Wright first joined here, was just coming out in nappies. So that's why I'm more patient with Ross than I am now with Scotty. But now, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That's right, it's time to talk about Sterling again. I'm starting to feel that this is coming the Sterling review, but that's really the game where he should have scored. Again, he then played a major part in making this game a lot more comfortable and giving us the opportunity to sing we shall not be moved, as Sterling reacts brilliantly to a ball that looks like it's gone nowhere, but great pace in there, big considine, big honest pro, throws his leg at it, quite clearly takes him out. It's the most obvious penalty that I think I've seen all season long. I went, well, that's a penalty. But then the camera had a weird cut to the referee, and honestly, this is what the referee looked like. Like, honestly, I'll do it again just in case you didn't see it. That's what the referee had on his face, and then he looks to the linesman, and the linesman goes, I don't know. Like, you've got a terrified ref, and a linesman going, I don't know, begging for VAR to make the call for them because both of them are too cowardly to give this penalty to Rangers. Well, quite clearly it was a penalty. It's so clear cut. It's so, look at Constantine, look at the other St Johnstone defender's reaction. He's putting his hands in the lap because he knows it's a penalty. When you've got the opposition going like this, when you've got all the Rangers players going mental for a penalty, you quite clearly know it's a penalty kick. But the referee was too much of a shite bag, and the linesman didn't want to get involved. They waited for VAR. VAR told the referee to come here and give the penalty, and the referee ended up giving it. But I'm giving nothing for no credit for giving the penalty in the second look. No, he should have gave it because it was quite clearly obvious, and he was too terrified to actually do it. But up steps Tavernier, a lot of pressure on the plump bags as we've already talked about, and it's a fantastic penalty. The goalie dives the right way, but he's just absolutely put it in the corner. That's 2-0 now. That's a major opportunity. It's all sunshines and rainbows now, and it really should have been Mayer. None other than Dessers, and I'm saying that looking you right in the eyes, knowing what happens next, but his physicality and his clever link-up when he's not got time to think, he's a very impactful player, and impactful player is what he was. I mean, his first touch was a beautiful little flick pass in behind the defence that eventually led for a chance for Silva that you couldn't get anything else on it. But it was all started with the imagination. Dessers, brilliant wee flick. Again, no good time. Again, no good time. I think you know where I'm going with this because he does everything right. Again, beautiful, powerful running through on goal. You're up there saying, here we go, Big Dessers getting ready to sing the big man's name. And then he just does what he does. And he done versus Celtic, and he was crucified for running through on goal and filling his knick-knacks. Stop going round the goalie, son. We're only joking about the R9 comparisons. You didn't need to keep trying to be R9. You've done everything. Just press circle, mate. This is what I'm talking about. This is why he ages, mate. He's done everything. He's run through on goal. He's completely on his own. Just shoot. You're a striker. Shoot. Stop trying to go round the goalie. It really should have wrapped up the game right there, but that is the life and experience of Dessers. So good when he's not got time, but when he's got time, by God, somebody needs to have a word with him because I need to know what's gone wrong in the noggin. I want to know, and I want him to be studied, an actual questionnaire and an RTV interview. What do you think about when you're through on goal? Because it is maddening to actually watch. I rate Dessers a lot, and I've took so much crap all season, but it's these moments like here, I'm like, come on, man, I'm trying to help you. And then he just goes through again. He needs to just shoot. Somebody have a word with him. You know what I mean? Just tell him to shoot. If he hits it wide, he hits the corner flag, fair enough. There is nothing more infuriating than watching a Ranger striker run through on goal and didn't even get a shot away as he tries to round the goalie who's not coming off your line. They know what you want to do though. They're actually forcing him to try and have a shot because they know he's not confident enough. Just somebody put his name around him and say, you know what, lad, just hit the target. Just shoot. It's better than falling air and wanting penalties all the time. It was dreadful by Dessers, and he was heavily involved in the next one as well. As a dangerous free kick ends up coming in. Goldson tries to get on it. It's a very good save by the goalie. I think Dessers then comes in at the back post with a header that hits the bar. You're thinking the kid's just not got luck. You know what I mean? That was actually, I actually like the header better than he's through on goal. That's what annoys me with Dessers. You know what I mean? I see him go through and goal, and I'm worried about the counter attack. I'm going, right, how's this going to counter us? But then when I see him in a room fighting people, that's when I really back him as he shows great strength to win the header. The ball ends up coming back off the bar. Tom Lawrence, you know what he's got with a strike, ends up getting blocked, I'm going to say first, because I didn't first see it was a handball when I was watching the game, but you could see by the Rangers players' reactions they were adamant that it was quite clearly a penalty. But then the game gets stopped and the replays get shown, and the boys literally just done like a dance. He was like murder on the dance floor as he just throws his arm out, and it's quite clear. And you could argue it's save of the season. It really is for the Johnstone player. I mean, the only ones that will be complaining are the ones that's involved or a fan base that isn't involved in this game. It's clearly a penalty kick, and that means Rangers are now the second team in 2024 to receive 2 penalties in the same game. And I think we all know what team that is, ladies and gentlemen. It's the same fan base that's complaining and saying the referees are giving penalties to Rangers, so unaware that the fact that they were given 2 at Easter Road to turn a game that they should have lost into that one. We were never in danger of losing this game of football. We were never in trouble. It was comfortable. It was controlled the entire game of football, and we got 2 penalties that was justly given. No conspiracy there. It was just the rules. And that's truthfully all I've really got to say in terms of the game. Now, Dessers does end up having another opportunity to run through and goal, which he doesn't shoot. Ladies and gentlemen, I think the referee eventually gives it as a foul against him, but that's probably saving his blushes as he runs through again and doesn't shoot. Just have a word with him. Just hit the ball, Dessers. Just press shoot, mate. That's all I'm actually asking for. But that's the game of football, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely delighted to sit where we sit, where the camp's feeling, the way the team is, the way the bond between the players and the manager coming off, getting the hangs, the way the players are connecting with the fans, everyone's singing for the same hymn sheet, everything is feeling good right now, and we are rocking and rolling on our way, and we just need to keep on winning. It's pretty damn simple. No one's won the day, but I'd much rather be in our position than the other way, ladies and gentlemen, and it's on us now. Just keep winning. Do your job. You know what's at the end of the old season. But that's my thoughts and opinions on the game. What about you? Let me know your opinions down there in the comment section below. And if you didn't mind, let me know your man of the match. That would be absolutely sensational. I'd genuinely argue that it should be Sterling. Sterling and Tav, for me, was the two real standouts in this game of football. If Dessers could press the shoot button, it would have probably been him, as he had quite clearly an obvious and open hat-trick as you're ever going to get wearing the Rangers shirt. But aye, Dessers 0 for 3 yet again when it comes for running through on goal. Something needs to be done, or it's going to come back and haunt us the same way it did in the last Old Firm. But what about you? Let me know your thoughts and opinions. And as always, I've been Siege over 92. Thank you so much for watching. All the best and bye.